coating here on the low E coating on the glass. You can't see the low E coating. It's a microscopically thin layer. And Catherine, I think you found, they said it was something like silver oxide or?
From Pledgen?
Yeah.
I think that was what it was.
Yeah, silver oxide is the microscopic coating that's on there. Okay. What happens if we took the windows out of my house and put in windows like this here? And we still just kept a light wood frame construction. Well, we could save roughly that's what, about 1,500 kilowatt hours a year if we put in, say, 6% ratio of south window here. Again, if you keep adding more window without adding thermal mass, though, you run into problems. The house overheats, and so you have to dump the heat by opening the windows in the spring and the fall. And that's not very energy conscious. So again, here we used only 5.5% ratio of window to floor area, and that's what we did here. Now, thermal storage and mass, we've talked about that already. The computer program that's used for most residential housing in Canada is called Hot 2000, and it is available free off the internet if you're savvy with computers. And it allows you to calculate the expected performance of the house with a computer model. And now, in the model, there's 4 different levels of thermal mass that you can choose for the house. The standard one would be this house here, without the floor tiles and the extra mass on the countertops. And it's got a certain thermal capacity, in technical terms, megajoules per degree Kelvin per square meter of floor area. The heaviest mass, if you went to a very heavy commercial office building, like the ones downtown, you'd probably have something like this. It would be about 15 times as heavy as thermally heavy as a conventional house. And then there's some in between here. We have had some houses where people have actually doubled the thickness of gyprock on the walls for strengthen that, and put an inch of gypsum board on the ceiling. Typically, I think this gypsum board is only ½ inch here. And I had a friend who built a house in Regina, and what he did, he got a whole bunch of old bricks, and he just stacked the bricks in the wall. That was a way to get inexpensive thermal storage. And so here's the house as it was, and then if we now go to the better windows and add some more thermal mass. And in fact, we went to very high thermal mass. So you can see right now we're operating around here, but if we went to extremely heavy mass, and we could get down here under 8,000 kilowatt hours a year. The trouble is that it would break the bank to build a house like with 12-inch thick concrete walls on that. And again here, just going down here, this one here, the combination of installed of better windows like these ones here, and then put in very high thermal mass. We could knock it down from where we are right now at about 10,500 to about 5,500. So we could almost, just with the passive technology, go almost 50% reduction in the space heating requirement. But it would break the bank to do that. So thermal mass ideas, we've talked about this. I won't dwell on this here. Again, this is pretty technical. But we looked as well as, well, how about if we have the better windows, and we looked at the 4 levels of mass in the house. So more mass generally is better. You can see here the lower curve here is the heaviest construction. And you know, you can go from here down to there with this. And my own feeling is there's a sweet spot here. And the sweet spot, if you're going for more glass beyond the 6%, you can go to this intermediate level here, and you know, things like concrete toppings on the floor to get your mass level down, and you can go from just under 10,000 to around 8,000 kilowatt hours per year with a heavier construction. And I'll show you now a house in Edmonton that's used this philosophy. Edmonton is, again, a northern prairie city. It's relatively similar in climate to ours. And this is a house. It's on a 10-meter wide lot. It's only a 33 foot wide lot. And they have a the back of this is the front of the house facing the street, and this it's an infill near the University District, and there's a very good description of it. The fellow is a very good blogger if you want to catch this up. And now this is the south side of the house, and it is quite non-traditional, I would say, in terms of appearance. And but the thing to watch here, it's got a lot of south glazing. Basically, it's a two-story house plus a basement, and he's got essentially as much glass as you can put on the thing here. Now, if you didn't add thermal mass, this house would be like a greenhouse. It would just get oppressively hot and be uncomfortable. He also has here, these are solar photovoltaic panels here and here, and they've actually got these so that they can adjust the tilt according to the time of the year. And they've got a special thing that allows them to adjust these up and down. And apparently they can get about 15% more useful energy by tilting them. As you remember, I mentioned earlier here, the sun in the summertime is way up here. So essentially you want your panels to be at this tilt angle. But as the year progresses and you're into December, you want your panels to be more at that orientation. And so they have this this arrangement here, and they've done it on this house, and they've also done another house in Edmonton with these adjustable racks.
They pull up.
That's right. Yeah, it's very sophisticated. These they don't just aren't just hinged on one edge like this here. They actually like if the photovoltaic panels were like this, they could be hinged up and down, but they actually go up like this, and then
because they're an awning as well.
Yeah. And very interesting. But by doing this, I think they have to adjust them 4 times a year, and they can get about 15% more energy out of their photovoltaic panels. And these here are also photovoltaic panels along the top, and these are solar thermal panels for heating the hot water for the home. And here's what they did for thermal mass. It's a wood frame building, but they put 2.5-inch poured concrete on the floors for the upper 2 levels. And interesting, they actually used the concrete floor as the finished floor area here. And this house is getting the thermal mass basically for this. They also have a little brick surround around the chimney here. But they're getting this. It's interesting that the concrete people are getting a lot more creative now with finishing, and you can make stamped concrete now. And I was just over at Jerry's for supper recently, and the outside patio, or the outside sidewalk there, is all stamped concrete, and it looks sort of like tiles. So they're getting a lot better at doing that.